Well, hello there, my lovelies. Long time no see. I had this stream scheduled for yesterday, but I broke a tooth and it got really inflamed, and my face blew up like a basketball yesterday. And I was like, I can barely talk. So that's why I had to postpone it till today anyway. We have lots to talk about today. There's a couple of things about old drama that I want to talk about real quick, and then we'll jump into GMan. I haven't reviewed any of GMan's stuff before, so I've only recently really started listening to his streams because some of the nonsense that he's posting. But I thought it would be fun to sit down, Hello, hello. So we're gonna say hello to the Knitting Gamer. Stella's here. Snowball's here. I don't know if my husband is here. I should probably send him the link so that he can come and join us. He's at work and he likes to listen in when he has time at work. So let's do that real quick. One other thing I wanted to mention is that we've had good old Jenny Poo Poo pop up again. She's probably going to watch this if she's not already watching this, which I think is fucking hilarious. Because she said this morning that she doesn't pay attention to me anymore. Yet jumped right on the tweet that I made this morning, which I thought was fucking hilarious. Okay, here's link for husband. Ta-da, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so let's pull up this tweet. Listening to GMan, poor you, listening to GMan streams. Yeah. It was really interesting because I was watching and I was like going like full blast in side chat. He like barely pays attention to his side chat whatsoever. So he just sits down and he just rambles and barely interacts with whatever's going on in the side chat. So I found that out really, really quickly. So I was like, I'm wasting my time trying to communicate with this stupid man just because he just doesn't pay attention to it. So, I mean, it's like, what's the point of having your side chat even there if you're not going to acknowledge it at all? Like that's kind of to me the whole point of streaming, right? Is to interact with the people that are watching you. Um, oh, okay, go ahead. Just be careful. There you go. But yeah, it was just it was a little frustrating because I thought that he would actually interact with the side chat and I'd never been there before. And yeah, like nah, he doesn't pay attention to it at all. All right. He finds out who to block from it. Oh, that's a good point. Um I don't know if I got blocked or not. He didn't have any moderators in his chat and it didn't look like he was actually like actively blocking anybody at the time. So I don't know if I got blocked or not, and unfortunately YouTube doesn't really tell you. It will just let you keep commenting. It's just that when he's streaming he doesn't see it, So it's like I might just be wasting my time here. But anyway, this is the tweet from Jenny Poo Poo this morning. The reason why I tweeted about her this morning is because she had deleted or disabled her account, oh, I don't know, for a couple of weeks. And I just randomly happened to pop over to see if she had come back. And lo and behold, there she was. Now, from what I understand, it was only for a couple of days. And she made some questionable tweets that kind of attracted some attention. And she was getting like they were chewing her up. And I found it really, really amusing. And I guess she couldn't take the heat because she deactivated her account again. And I thought it was funny because this is a chick that will stir up the pot, get people riled up, and then be like, oh, I can't take this, and delete it and run away like a fucking coward. And she does this repeatedly because she's deactivated her account. I can't even I can't keep track anymore of how many times she's just deleted her shit. Because that's what she does. She runs away. I don't think I visited G-Man's channel before. Hey Kevin. Yeah, I had heard some other people that I follow talking about G-Man getting really feisty this last week or so. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to sit down. I'm actually going to listen to one of his streams, and just kind of see what everybody's talking about. Hi, Robert. How are you? And let me tell you, like the sound of his voice and the way he speaks really bothers me. So I can't watch him for long periods of time. Um, but I thought it was kind of important to sit down and review some of the shit that he's talking about because he refers a lot to atheists. He sees the reaction community as all atheists, which is not true because there are a lot of believers within the reaction community. But I think it's easier for G-Man to comprehend, by labeling them atheists, because then it's the atheists persecuting the Christians, and that he kind of justifies that to him. Um, but I mean, that's just a guess. That's just kind of what I'm. Is she a lulz cow? I've never heard of this. Jenny, what's her face? She is. She's my own personal lulz cow. Um, she likes to stir up a lot of drama. She's had a lot of personal drama with me. She's a Trump supporter. She's an anti-vaxxer. She's, she's all those lovely right-wing things, like, believes the conspiracy theories, is totally convinced that there was election fraud. It's funny because they won an election for governor in Virginia, I think it was. But magically, there was no fraud because the Republicans won. But anytime a Democrat wins, oh, they had to cheat to win. So it's kind of like a double standard here. So whenever they win an election, it's legitimate. But whenever a Democrat wins an election, oh, then it had to be by fraud. Like there's no real logic there. There's all these conspiracy theories, and there's a Republican who ran for Senate in Delaware. Now, I happen to be lucky enough to be related to this Senate candidate through marriage, and she's she's just out there. I watched a video of her today where she was sitting there talking about how she's fighting to reclaim her Senate seat because that Senate seat is hers. She didn't win. She lost by over 100,000 votes in Delaware, to a guy named, I think it's Chris Collins. It's whoever the senator is in Delaware. Anyway, she lost. So she's never been in that Senate seat. But she still views it as hers because election fraud, right? So she's fighting to reclaim the seat that she supposedly thinks she won. And it's just like, lady. and I'm unfortunately related by marriage to this person. My husband has the unfortunate circumstance of being blood related to this person. So it's just like, and it's funny because I was last year, when we stayed in Pennsylvania for 6 months, for the 4th of July, we were invited to a 4th of July party. Now, this was at the height of the pandemic. There was no vaccinations. This was a group of the family getting together. And I was like, no, no, I'm not going there. And part of me kind of wishes that I had gone because I would have been able to meet her in person. And I've told my husband now that I know more about her, because I didn't know about her back then. I was just like, oh, she's running for Senate. I didn't know what she stood for. I didn't know any of the policies she supported. I didn't know what a whack job she was. But now that I know more about her and what she stands for, and how she buys into all this, like she was at January 6th, the insurrection. And from what I understand, there was a possibility of her facing, charges for that. But I don't know exactly where that went. But I would like now to meet her in person, just to have a conversation, to see just how out there she is, and to see if she's really as outspoken and crazy as she portrays herself on the internet in person, or to see how exactly she reacts to a now family member who has the opposite views of her, because she's like full blown crazy. So I'm definitely going to talk about that if it happens once we get to Pennsylvania. I don't know if that's going to happen because, of course, she lives in Delaware, so that's quite a ways away from the family in Pennsylvania. But I mean, there are occasions when the family gets together, like last year for July 4th, so who knows, it might happen again. I don't know. But it's crazy because I watched that video this morning and I'm just thinking, is she really sitting there trying to say that she won a seat that she's never held? You know? Like it baffles me how that side of the fence is so adamant that the Democrats cheat in elections and that's the only way that they win, and that they think that somehow the majority of the country wants Republicans in power. And it's just like, that's not what's happening. You're fully like totally ignoring the majority of the country that doesn't want these Republicans in office. But it's, whatever. Using GMan and understanding in one sentence is already a stretch, right? Right? But I felt like the content that he's put out in the last week and a half or so is something, because he's mentioning atheists so much, that it might be something that I want to sit down and talk about. I know that he talks about like Matt Dillahunty a lot, um, and attacks that whole thing. But we're gonna see because he had a video out. I don't know if he just changed the title or if he hid the stream. But it was called G-Man Living Rent Free in Atheist's Head, which is what prompted me to title this particular stream the way that I did. Um, and to see if he notices. I don't know how much G-Man pays attention to this or how often he pays attention to his name coming up in other people's streams. I know that he does talk about David Anthony quite a bit, and like made a video specifically for David Anthony. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyway, back to Jenny Poo Poo. So she stirred up a bunch of shit, racial shit, that pissed off a lot of people yesterday, and she had a hissy fit. She deactivated her account, and then she reactivated it this morning. And it's just like kind of something that she does when she stirs up shit. She runs and hides. She lets it blow over, and then she comes back, and then she tries to pretend like nothing ever happened. You know, and it's like, no. um, but anyway, the tweet that I made about it, I was like, I was completely amused because yesterday I was pretty much out of commission. I spent most of the day in bed with my face blown up like a basketball. So every once in a while I was checking on Twitter and stuff. And I was really amused that she totally got owned. And I was just sitting there, eating my popcorn theoretically. Eating my popcorn, looking at all this drama that she stirred up, and she deleted her account again, and it had nothing to do with me this time. Because usually that's what happens when she deactivates her account, whether it be on Twitter or YouTube or whatever. It's always my fault. It's always me harassing her, and it's me driving her to delete her account because she's got to get away from me. And it was amusing because she deactivated again, and this had absolutely nothing to do with me. So then she posted this tweet this morning saying, deactivating your account is not the same as deleting. Just FYI, gosh, you must have missed me since I've ignored you for so long. And I thought that was really funny because she's trying to claim that she ignores me, but she definitely stays on top of what I post, when I post, who I talk to, and who I have beef with. Because during the little hiatus that she took on Twitter, it certainly didn't stop her from going to Ziad and whining and crying to Ziad, "Oh, Mindy made me feel suicidal," and load up on that bullshit. And it was like, this is just kind of a pattern thing for her. So I'm not going to be surprised if now that, because I'm covering G-Man, she's going to in the background go to G-Man to try and get G-Man on her side. And because she's done this multiple times now. She did it with Smokey Saint. She did it with Chris Yoon. She tried to do it with Shanny. And all of these people, it just never panned out for her, because she's trying to find an ally against me. Um, and she gets really, really excited because Smokey Saint was going to make a video on me, like a couple months ago. And she was like super duper excited. She even posted a video about it herself. And I was just like, this is hilarious. She's getting so excited because she thinks she has a friend who's going to go after the sassy heathen with her. And then that never happened. The video never happened. It never panned out. Um, and it's just like she just keeps trying to do this where whoever I'm like talking about, she goes to them immediately. And I mean, this is proof that she just, it doesn't matter who it is or who they are. As long as they have beef with me, then Jenny needs to be right there with her, right? Like Ziad's a Muslim. Ziad's somebody that she bitches about Muslims all the time, you know, or she'll say, "Oh, Mindy never attacks Muslims, blah blah blah," and all of that. Um, and like Ziad is very anti-Christian, and she is very much a Christian, but she didn't hesitate going to him right away because he had beef with me, and that's all that mattered. And then, of course, you know, nothing ever came of that. You know, Ziad didn't post any of the information that Jenny gave him, you know? So it's like she's desperate. She is absolutely desperate to try and find an ally um, that's going to help her somehow expose me, which is hilarious. Super pathetic, but I thought I would point it out because it gave me a good laugh. Hi, Leon. How are you? Anyway, I thought that was really funny. Now, speaking of Ziad, the last video that I talked to about Ziad was, or I talked about Ziad, I mean, he was holding, um, Kenny Bomber's channel hostage with his false copyright claims. And what he was doing is he was taking panels that he had participated in. So like Kenny Bomber has on his channel, he has like these, I wouldn't say they're open rooms, but they're like open discussion panels on StreamYard where, you know, members of his audience come in. Sometimes he lets Christians come in to have conversations. Sometimes I go on and we talk about, you know, atheist stuff or whatever. But it's not quite an open room, but an open room kind of. Anyway, so and Kenny runs it on his channel, and Ziad was one of those people that was coming into the panel and was considered one of the hosts um, on this particular channel. And Ziad was going, because he now was mad at Kenny, he was going and flagging copyright strikes on these panels that he participated in. Now, this is stuff that Kenny is broadcasting on his channel. He's running it with his StreamYard. He's running it on his channel. Ziad is, you know, making the choice to participate in these channels or in these panels, and he's got no copyright claim there, but he was copyright claiming them anyway. And in total, I think there was 9 copyright strikes that Ziad had slapped onto Kenny's channel, making Kenny's channel basically unusable. Well, good news on that front is that when you have a copyright strike on your channel, you can appeal it. And basically, in that appeal process, you have to provide your name, your address, your telephone number, all of your personal information, which is why I've never appealed a copyright strike, because I don't want the particular people that are claiming copyright strikes to have my personal information. Jenny Poo Poo being the number one of those. I don't want that crazy bitch having my personal information. So I don't normally challenge them. Um, but Kenny went ahead, and I guess he didn't have a problem with it. He went and appealed it, and the appeals are being approved. And, you know, YouTube's kind of realizing, hey, this is not content that you've challenged. So, and like, I guess with a copyright strike, you have, like, when you get an appeal for a copyright strike, you have, I thought it was 30 days, but apparently it's 10 business days. Um, to basically prove that you're actually going to sue the person that you put the copyright strike on. Now, if you don't provide that information, then YouTube regards that as, oh, you didn't really plan on doing anything with this. And then they open it back up again. And, you know, so enough of these copyright strikes have been appealed that Kenny is able to use his channel again, which is great news. You're so lost. Yeah. I told you that there was a lot of information going on here that we were going to talk about today. So I'm trying to get all of the outside stuff covered before we jump into GMan. I also have to pull up the screen. This one. There we go. I think this is the stream that I first watched, and was in the side chat, I don't know. Like I said, there's been like 3 or 4 streams of his that I watched where I kind of went buck wild in the side chat and then realized he wasn't paying attention. But we'll see, I guess. We'll see. He's definitely a character. He comes across to me as someone that if you were to sit down and try and have a discussion with him, it wouldn't work. Like, he's just one of those hard-headed theists where they just kind of shut themselves off, very much like a Darth Dawkins type person, where they don't know how to have a conversation with the other side of the argument. They just want to yell at you and give you their opinion and tell you what they believe, but they don't know how to reciprocate and actually listen to what the other side is saying. And there's really no point in trying to have a dialogue with this type of people because it's like talking to a brick wall. You would probably have more success talking to a brick wall than you would with someone like GMan. So I guess, oh, there we go. It's just game. Why you have to be mad? Hi, husband. How are you? Oh, GMan gets angry. It's funny. GMan gets mad. Like, his video today from this morning was like, atheists are in a cult. And he's just got some wacko ideas out there. But Frank covered that one today. I might do that one in a couple of days. I didn't know that was how that worked. Now I'm guessing one of my former guests tried to sabotage my channel. I didn't even know I had a strike until I got notice that it was squashed. Yeah. Like, I mean, I've had a few copyright strikes on my channel, all related to basically Jenny Sue. And yeah, like you can appeal the copyright strike. The unfortunate side of that, though, is that you have to provide all of your personal information. And Jenny Sue has doxed people before. She dropped a friend of mine's, what she thought was a full, like the information that she gave was wrong. But regardless whether it was wrong or not, she still put it out there with the intention of, I'm going to dox this person. And she put out this woman's, what she thought was her full name and telephone number, and then tried to pass it off with, oh, well, a troll gave me this information. Doesn't matter how you got the information. The fact that you posted it publicly, that's malicious intent. You know, you're trying to put someone's personal information out there with the intent of hurting them somehow, you know, and that's not the kind of person that I want to give my personal information to. I don't want her having access to my phone number, my address, anything like that, because she can't be trusted to have common sense to be like, hey, maybe I shouldn't put that information out there. You know, like Jenny Sue doesn't realize that her address and her telephone number is all public information that I was very easily able to locate. And I've had it for a while. Now I know that she no longer lives at that address, and I'm sure if I could, you know, type it in there and I'd be able to find her new address because it had all of her previous addresses as well. But I'm not going to post that on the internet. No matter how I feel about her, no matter how mad that I am with her or anything like that, I have enough decency to know that I'm not going to put somebody's full name and phone number and address out there because that's wrong. And Jenny Sue doesn't seem to comprehend that. And then she tries to hide behind, well, I have a learning disability. Fuck that. Fuck that. A learning disability is not justification for being an asshole and doing something like that. You know? I don't understand the logic there. She doesn't have any logic. But anyway, I digress. Yes, you can appeal copyright strikes and stuff like that. So if the person that's copyright striking your channel and your content, if they're not willing to actively go to a lawyer and sue you for it, and they don't provide that information about that lawsuit to YouTube in a timely manner, YouTube will take the strike off and allow the content there. That's what the appeal process is, as far as I understand it. But anyway, let's get into GMan and see what GMan has to say. Let me know if you can't hear him, as I may have to click the box again to allow for sound.
GMan Chronicles here on GTV. Now here's your host, GTV.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to GTV. I am a G-Man, your host.
Oh, we had no idea.
The trolls are busy doing everything I said they was going to do yesterday.
Really?
We will enjoy a peaceful show today without no trolling in the live chat. Psalms 14:1 says...
Oh, I don't want to hear about the Bible
let's read a little bit more than Psalms 14:1 because I've got a Bible in front of me here. Plus, we're going to be using this a little bit today. Psalms 14...
and who wants to take a guess that he is streaming from the house that Shanny and Rev gave him from the basement? He's even called them the Basement Chronicles. This is cringe. Oh yeah, all of G-Man stuff is cringe. Absolutely all of it is cringe. But, you know, here we are. G-Man doesn't really understand what cringe is.
1. And it says, the fool hath said in his heart that there is no God. They are corrupt, they have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. The Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek God. They are all gone aside. They are all together become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. And in order to do good, you have to know God.
No.
Again, everyone, welcome.
No. That premise is just awful. And it's one that, as an atheist, I have dealt with so many times. That because I'm an atheist, I can't be a good person. And it's like, what do you qualify as a good person? You know what I mean? And I got into a debate on Facebook with a theist about this. They were a Muslim. And they were talking about, you know, if you don't have God or the reward of heaven, then what drives you to be a good person? And it's like, that kind of defeats the purpose, right? Like, if you need a reward or the promise of a reward in order to be good to your fellow man, you're not really a good person, right? Because you're doing this for your own personal gain. You're only being good because you think that there's a God looking over your shoulder who's going to punish you if you're not a good person. You know, whereas, you know, atheists, we do good things, but we do good things without the promise of heaven, without the threat of hell. We don't worry about God either rewarding or punishing us for our deeds. We just do them because it's good to be a good person. We have empathy. We help our fellow people. We treat others how we want to be treated, you know, and we don't need a God for those ideas. And that seems to be a real foreign concept to theists, especially like G-Man. I think it's funny that he can read the Bible without halting and stuttering. Yet I've seen videos of him and Shanny where he's reading comments and he stutters and sounds out words. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't really watched enough of his contents to really see. I'm wondering if that's more of he's not struggling to read. He's struggling to contain like an emotional outburst kind of thing. Because I know when I get like either excited or upset, or even like overly happy, I can like really stumble over my words because there's a lot of emotion going on there at the same time, and I can't really get the two to jive. So it could be something like that. Reading scripture is not validation. Yeah, it's not. It's almost like when he holds a Bible, he has no feelings or thoughts. It's like a crutch to him. Yeah, that true. Uh-huh. The child's talking to herself in her room. I was trying to hear what she was saying.
To GTV, I am G-Man, your host.
You already said that, Gary.
Someone in this particular video, and that person happens to be an atheist. Don't take it personal. You just gotta, you know, we just think that if you deny what's right in front of your face, then you must be a fool. And that's what atheists do all the time.
So if we grab a Harry Potter book and we tell theists, hey, you're denying Harry Potter, you must be a fool. That's how... Oh, I smacked my own headphone. That's how it works, right, Gary? Right? Oh my goodness.
They play make-believe and they pretend like no one provides some evidence, no one answers their questions, no one wants to talk to them, and they just come up with all of the stuff that they make up in their head. And what I want to do in this particular video today, ladies and gentlemen, is I want to talk about
Spider-Man lives in New York, right?
Many
exactly.
of the atheists on YouTube, the things that they attack on YouTube, the things that they attempt to expose, in reality, they support it. And if you speak out against it, you may find thousands upon atheists coming against you.
What?
And let me give you a few examples of this, ladies and gents. How you doing? Rebuke We're about to stomp mud hole in these guys again.
You keep thinking that.
Let's talk about some of the things that they've been exposing lately. And just for sake of clarity, let's just focus on, just for right now, the reaction channels. And then we'll deal with the bigger fish.
It's interesting that he's just... Because a lot of the reaction channels, and let's just say one of the bigger known reaction channels that I know personally, Geek Room. Geek Room doesn't talk about, atheist topics. And like Frank was saying in his stream earlier today, they started out that way, but now they just react to the Lolcows. It's not atheist content. But Gary, again, likes to label everybody that opposes him an atheist. Whether they actually are or not, doesn't matter to him. If you side with people from like the Geek Room or anybody that opposes him in any way, you're just automatically labeled an atheist, even if you're not. He doesn't take the time to really figure that out. And he's got this really skewed idea of what's an atheist.
The moment, okay? One of the things that they're constantly exposing is that people are lying on YouTube. Apparently, I'm a liar. Beckel's a liar. Shanny's a liar.
Okay,
Rev.
Shanny and Rev are lying. They lie all the time. And the thing with that is we have video proof that they lie. I mean, the best example I can give was when Shanny and Rev invited people into their townhouse to go get the stuff that they left behind. And then they turned around and said that they never did that and people broke into their home. Hello? It's on video. Rev saying, go take the stuff. Go into the house and get what they couldn't get. And then they listed off the things that were in the house. So why, how is that not exposing them? How is that not showing that they lie? Because they blatantly lie to their audience and then expect everybody to just take their word for it. And it's like, no, we've got the videos to prove that you lied. But of course, that doesn't matter to GMan. The truth doesn't matter to GMan, just what GMan believes is the truth, not the actual truth.
As a liar. We're all liars. And lying is a terrible thing to atheists. In fact, they take it so seriously that they sit in front of their computer sometimes for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours at a time, just talking about how I lied or how Shanny lied or how one of you out there who's a man or woman of God who lied, or even if you're an atheist and you happen to be Grant Dillon or you happen to be like somebody who used to be part of their clique. The moment they think you lied, they feel this righteous need.
Gary doesn't really understand the whole point of reaction channels, does he? I get the feeling that Gary takes the internet very, very seriously. And he doesn't really understand the entertainment factor that comes with reacting to people that behave stupidly on the internet. No, lying is okay when you're a Christian, right, G-Man? Right? Exactly. Really? Like, as long as a Christian's doing it and they're a person of God, then lying's okay. But, the Geek Room or any of the other reaction channels calling it out, oh my goodness. We are going to burn in hell for that, right?
To go out there and to preach to people and to tell people that such and such is a liar. That's what atheists do. They do this on YouTube all the time.
No. Not atheists. The reaction channels. Two separate things. And if we have evidence that somebody's lying about something, yeah, then we're going to prove it. I've done it to Jenny Sue 100 times. She tries to deny it all the time. But then it's like, I've got this video clip of you doing what I said you were doing. I've got a tweet of you saying what you said. You know what I mean? Like, she tried to say that she never accused me of fraud when my dog passed away last year. I still have the tweet where she accuses me of fraud, but she tries to deny it. It's like, why? Why deny it when I have the blatant evidence right here in front of you? But that doesn't matter to these folks.
You don't believe me?
Does G-Man have a learning Apparently, I can't read today. A learning difficulty or ADHD. I don't understand his hatred for atheists. It's a possibility because his behavior's kind of erratic. I don't honestly couldn't tell you. I haven't again watched enough of his content to really kind of get a sense of there's something wrong there. But his hatred for atheists, in my personal opinion, is really nothing unique to just G-Man. It happens a lot. There are some people out there that just blatantly hate atheists for just simply existing. You know, I had I was in a Facebook group not too long ago and I left it because I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that people like this still exist. But I was in an atheist Christian like discussion group on Facebook, and one of the admins actually said that atheists should be killed. He believes that atheists should be put to death. And it's like, this is 2021. And this person lived in the States. And it's like, how we should be put to death simply because we don't believe what they believe. And there's people like that just have this hate in their heart, like G-Man does, that just are so angry that we exist and we don't buy into their bullshit that we deserve death for it. And it's like, how? Why? Okay. Do you guys hear me? Am I back in here? Okay, so my internet has gone out. My aunt's internet is working, and my computer keeps jumping back and forth between the two, trying to connect to something. And it's like, whenever it's cold and it's rainy, my internet is like, screw you, I'm not going to work. But I'm glad you all can hear me. Welcome, welcome. I apologize for dropping out like that. Oh, God. I hate this time of year because the weather is always awful, and for some reason, my internet just doesn't like to cooperate on bad days. You know. So let's pull the G-Man back up here. There we go. All right. It's going to be one of those days, folks. One of those days. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it all.
G-Man's a liar. G-Man's a liar. G-Man's a liar. G-Man's a liar. I mean, they got the whole song about it. Go, and they talk about this over and over and over again while forgetting they have a subjective view about morality. You see, I can't be a liar in a world of subjectivity. In a world of subjectivity, you believe I'm lying. I don't believe I'm lying. Who's right in this particular matter?
Well, see, whether it's subjective or not, there's still a truth. So, for example, Shanny's house being left in an absolute disgusting mess, right? Shanny lied about how that happened. We know how it happened, but Shanny lied about how it happened. So, regardless of whether you're an atheist or a Christian or a Muslim or whatever, there is a particular truth about the way that that apartment got in the disgusting state that it is. So, Shanny's either lying or she's not lying. We know that she's lying. We have evidence that she's lying because there's a truth out there. And we have evidence to support that truth. GMan doesn't really seem to understand that concept. I think GMan lied. That doesn't surprise me because Christians like GMan lie about a lot of shit. A lot of shit.
Without objective morality, you can't sit there and call me anything.
Sure,
especially if you believe that morality is subjective. Okay? A lot of you guys accuse me of using words I don't understand, right? Well, today I'm going to prove to you that you don't even understand your own arguments. You see, you spent the better part of 12 years on YouTube, and even before I even got on here, telling everybody that morality was subjective, and that is according to the individual. Of course, we all know you don't believe that, but this is what you tell everybody. You go out there and you tell everybody that morality is subjective.
It is. Morality is completely subjective because that's why it differs so much from person to person. What I view as moral may be different from what my neighbor views as moral. And how we decide what's right and wrong is as a community, we come together and the majority decides, hey, we're not going to do this thing like kill each other because that's not beneficial to the community. And therefore, it's not moral to kill other people of our species. But I mean, even that is iffy, right? Because let's just say now up in Canada is not so much, but okay, the Bible says thou shalt not kill. Okay. However, that's not what the Christians down in the States believe, because if somebody walks onto your property in some states, you have the ability to shoot and kill them because they are trespassing or because they break into their house because you are considered protecting yourself. And that's okay. That's not considered murder. So there's these little things where murder's okay sometimes, even though the Bible says all killing is bad. We've come together and we've decided that it's okay to kill each other in these certain circumstances. So I mean, it's not flat out across the board. Now, do I believe you should be able to murder somebody that walks onto your property? No, I don't. I do not think that that's okay unless they are posing some kind of threat to you. So if somebody walks onto your property and holds a gun to your head, then yeah, I would, that would be okay with me. But somebody just walking onto your property, not so much, So like there's certain circumstances where it's okay and where sometimes it's not okay. But like, I don't think Gary really understands that. Yeehaw, trespasser, we can use the guns. Except pedos. See, no, I don't believe pedophiles should be killed. Now, people that rape children, absolutely. And there's a difference between the two because a pedophile, while they are attracted to minor people, they don't always necessarily act on that. There are people out there that do have that attraction, suppress it, and never act on it their entire life. But people that do not suppress it and people that do harm children, yes, absolutely. So there's a difference there. We don't, because if you were to punish a pedo that has never harmed a child before, you're essentially punishing them for thought crimes. So because they're thinking it, you're saying that they deserve to die. And that's not okay, because how many times have we had thoughts that are illegal, right? Like, does that mean that someone can come and arrest you for thinking about robbing a bank, even though you didn't actually do it? Or getting so angry at someone and wishing that you could kill them? Should we now arrest you for murder? You know, so there has to be a clear line there about we punish the people that have actually done wrong, where you don't punish people for thought crimes. So I kind of wanted, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying, Robert. Like, so I've thought of killing my boss a few times. Who hasn't had a thought like that where you have been so angry and over the edge that you have wanted to kill someone? You know, thoughts are not illegal. And we shouldn't punish people for thoughts. We punish people for actions. And I think that it's very important to have that clear separation. Now, according to the Bible, we punish for thoughts. Because if you're thinking about your neighbor's wife, that's punishable because that's breaking one of the commandments, right? So I think that that's where we're having an issue here with Gary. He might not really understand that, but yeah, we can't punish people for the thoughts that they have if they haven't actually done anything. You know, I killed a chili dog. Oh, I don't like chili. I don't like beans. Don't tell my husband. He's been trying to get me to eat beans for years, and I'm just like, I can't do it. I also wanted to kiss Esther. Don't kill me, please. Who's Esther? I don't know who Esther is. But we don't kiss Esther unless Esther wants to be kissed. We got to draw a line. Hi, Tatted Jedi. All right, let's go back into this GMan rant.
And
chili, no beans. Okay, I'm good with that.
Depends on the individual.
It does.
Well, you believe that lying is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that lying is wrong.
Okay.
But in the scenario where you're going on the YouTube channels, GMan is a liar, Shanny is a liar, Rev's a liar, this person's a liar. But if morality is subjective, you got a problem now.
Why?
You see, if I told a lie and I don't think I lied or I did anything bad, then why are you talking about it? Aren't you being intolerant by doing that?
No, because if you blatantly lied about, like, does GMan not understand what lying is? Because if we have evidence that you lied and we can show it, then you lied. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. I mean, you can sit there and say, I didn't lie all day long, but if we have the evidence that shows that you lied, then you lied. I mean, that's pretty common sense. It's not a matter of whether or not you lied. It's not a matter of opinion. It's whether you did it or not. And if you have the evidence to back it up that you actually lied, then you lied. Like, it's not a difficult concept, Gary. God will know if you're lying or not, G-Man. Yep. I think he's as confused as what subjective morality is. Yeah. Esther, the Afro-humanist. Oh, I didn't know that. I apologize, Afro-humanist. I didn't know your name. That is a beautiful name. I am like very... I don't know if it's because I worked in geriatrics, but I really love like the old school names, you know? So like, and like, that's why my daughter has her name as it is, because I took care of an elder lady who actually lived, I think she was 105. She lived too. And her name was Molly. And I absolutely loved her. I loved her name. I really, really like the very old classical names. So like Esther and Mildred, and there's a friend of mine had twins and she named one of her children Evelyn, and you know, names that we used to always associate with the very, very older generation. I think they're beautiful names. I absolutely love them. They're gorgeous. I am not opposed to a kiss from Robert. There you go, Robert. You're all set up. He also stated lying is worse than touching kids using his... Really? I didn't know that. Wow. When you tell an untruth with the intention of deceiving someone, that is lying. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that seems pretty basic common sense to me, but it doesn't seem like G-Man really operates with common sense. I absolutely hated the name because I was named after one of the 2 women books of the Bible. Oh. I actually, when I named my daughter, I didn't know, because I wasn't raised with any religion whatsoever. And I chose a biblical name for my daughter, but I didn't know that it was a biblical name at the time. It was just one that I really liked. And I had her in her little bucket seat, and I lived in an apartment with my first husband at the time. And some like elderly man approached me in the elevator as we getting off the elevator. and asked her name. And I told him, and he's like, well, that's just a wonderful biblical name. And I was like, it instantly made me feel like, oh, I regret naming her that now because I didn't want a biblical name. But I didn't know. I raised them without religion too, so I don't even know if she knows that her name is biblical because I don't even know if she's read the Bible, honestly. Yeah, I have debated him a few times. Gary debates? You could actually have a coherent debate with Gary? Wow, that's impressive. I don't know if I would be able to even have a conversation with him. I think I would just get too frustrated. I was actually going to speed up his what you call it, his stream, but he talks too fast. So if we put the speed up at all, I don't think we'd be able to understand him. Well, Esther, you have an absolutely gorgeous name. It's beautiful and I love it.
Like, if you take their own arguments, guys, you can just these atheists all day long if you just take their own arguments, right?
No.
So morality is subjective, right? I mean, it's not like they don't lie themselves. You see,
calling out lying doesn't mean that we are perfect and we never lie. Humans lie all across the board. Atheist, Christian, Islam, Muslims, like everybody at some point in their life lies. We are not denying that. But again, if you lie and we have evidence to prove that you lied, then we're going to call you out on it. But no one's claiming to be perfect here, Gary, except you.
If a Christian tells a lie,
yeah, I wouldn't be able to.
Or if a Christian tells an untruth, what does the atheist do?
We've called out atheists before too. So we've called out Muslims for lying. I mean, I demonstrated where Ziad lies and he up and down denies it. It's got nothing to do, whether somebody's lying has nothing to do with religion. And he's having a real difficult time separating that. But if you're stupid and you lie and we have proof that you lied, we're going to call you on it. Simple as that.
And they go out there with their megaphones and they're telling everybody who's willing to listen to them. If the atheist tells a lie, hey, let's not talk about this. Let's deal with this behind.
No, that's not true at all. There's been quite a few scandals that have happened in the atheist community. There's some that have happened in the pagan community. Those get called out too. It's just GMan's not privy to all of that because he doesn't watch anybody else's content. You know what I mean? He doesn't watch any of that. He totally skips over it. But it happens. It's out there. You just have to look for it, Gary. That's your own incompetence speaking.
See,
I feel like I should hang out with people named Matthew, Luke, and John, and we should tell people.
That's what's going on. They're hypocrites.
Mark.
They support lying. They financially support lying.
Do we?
Don't
How?
believe me? The Geek Room's going live. I believe in about an hour or something like that. They'll lie through their teeth on their show. Watch all of the super chats they get for the lies that they tell on their channel.
So now he's attacking people that support channels that they enjoy. I mean, it's funny how he says they sit here and lie, but he hasn't actually given a specific example of when this has actually happened. Because see, that's the thing, is when the Geek Room sits down and calls out like Shanny or Rev or Chantel or whatever for lying, they will show evidence that they lied. And they'll say exactly what they lied about. Here's the proof that they lied. But Gary's just throwing it out there. Oh, they're going to lie and you support liars. But he hasn't actually given any examples of what they've lied about. That's kind of interesting, Gary.
They support liars. Come on, guys. Not the lies in your church services every day. We'll get to them soon enough. But let's just focus on the reaction people here. They lie about nags. They lie about booty beauty. Think about it. Now, one of these reaction idiots has ever spent 5 minutes in a room with booty beauty.
We don't need to be in the same physical room with the person to show where they lied. I mean, these people put their entire lives online. So, I mean, if you catch somebody lying on video and then they turn around and post something else, like, what significance does being in the same room with this person change about their lies? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. That just totally irrelevant. Oh my goodness. I apologize with my tooth, my face being half swollen. I'm struggling with words today. Billy lies all the time. Yeah, but that's Billy, Frank. That's Billy. But see, I love Billy, so I can forgive Billy. That's okay. I know I might get a lot of hate for that, but that's okay. He's also so obsessed with Miss Parker. Yes. Oh my goodness. I don't know if he gets into Miss Parker about this, but he was talking about how the atheists are so abusive and they attack and they harass. And then he was sitting there talking about Miss Parker. He was talking about her wig and how she needs to go to the gym and work out, and that how he was on stream with another person, how him and this other guy were going to come together and buy her a stripper pole to put in her house for her birthday because she's a whore. And it's just like, wow. How can you sit there and say atheists are these awful people, but then sit there and attack Miss Parker the way that you just did? Like, wow. I could not believe it. I was like, this is just over the top. And he's totally oblivious to the hypocrite that he's making himself out to be. It's awful. I was just like, I don't know Miss Parker at all. I don't really watch her content. So, but what I have seen of her, she seems like a very knowledgeable woman. She seems very nice. She seems to know what she's talking about. She seems to be, I get the impression she's very respectful about what she talks about. But like GMan just tore her down immediately after saying and criticizing atheists for doing the same to him. And it's just like, flip-flop hypocrite much. My goodness.
To know anything about her. But they act like
I am Billy, by the way.
About her or
Oh,
whatever,
you're
right?
Billy.
They swear they know something about me, and every time they get all confident that they know what they're talking about, I got to do a rant video or I do an expose video, and I teach them how to actually deal with somebody on here. And I show, listen.
I am like,
these people on here keep talking about lying is wrong, and this person's a liar. The reason why we Christians don't pay you no mind is because you lie yourself. And
you okay. He just said the reason why Christians don't pay you no mind. But that he's made how many videos in the last like week and a half bitching about atheists in the reaction channels? Where's that Christians don't pay you no mind thing going on? Because that's not what we're seeing there, Gary. Sent here by Frank. Oh, I didn't get a notification if Frank tweeted me out or what you call it, use the community tab. So that's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Totally not going to fangirl. We're going to go back to the stream.
You do it over and over and over again. As a matter of fact, when you're calling me a liar and say I lied about this and I lied about that, 98% of the time when you're saying that, you're lying. You're making it up.
Like what you mean, like just how you made up that stat there, Gary? It's like he just disproves himself. Like he'll say one thing and then immediately negate it with his next sentence. Like he's doing the work for us.
What about this new thing that's going around? And by the way, it doesn't bother me. Keep spreading your agenda around. Even atheists are laughing at you guys at this particular point. You keep going out there and you say,
wait a minute. Did he just say that the atheists are laughing at the reaction channels? Because I'm an atheist. I haven't heard anything like that whatsoever happen in the atheist circles or the atheist communities that I'm part of. Most of the people that I know of that stick to strictly atheist content don't really interact with the rest of us that are involved in like the reaction channels. There's a very clear separation in those two genres of types of videos. There's only like a very small handful of people that I see bounce back and forth between them. And I mean, I think the biggest one would be Drag that I know of anyway, because Drag is the reason why I got into the reaction channels. He's the one that kind of introduced me to like Geek Room and Shanny and Rev and all of that, you know? And I know that he's been a co-host on Atheist Experience a few times, and that's how I found Drag. But I'm not really aware of too many people that really bounce back and forth. most of the atheist community that I was a part of when I first started my channel last year were very strictly like atheist content only. That's all what we're going to do. We're not going to touch really on drama or anything like that. And I got really, I don't want to say bored because that sounds bad, but I really got kind of burned myself out on atheist content really, really quickly when I first started doing it. And I was looking for more something that was entertaining. And I just love the reaction stuff. Like this is entertainment to me. This is why I enjoy doing it, because it's the content that I enjoy watching. And I would like to know where Gary gets these idea. I was wondering how you got into drag, Sassy Heathen. No judgment here though. Yeah, no, I watched drag. Actually, I first started the atheist experience when I was in Pennsylvania last year. And yeah, it was drag was one of the co-hosts on one of the first atheist experience episodes that I watched. And I really enjoyed the way he kind of interacted and stuff. And then I started watching his channel, and a good portion of his channel at the time was Shanny content. And that's how I got into Shanny. And it just called kind of, woo, snowballed from there. And here we are. Same here. I saw Dragnot on AXP, and that's how I found all the cool people. Hi, Noah. How are you?
G-Man in the closet. He's gotta come out the closet. He's gotta come out the closet.
He's really salty about the whole gay thing, isn't he? Really, really salty. That's funny. That's really funny.
Hey, G-Man, just admit that you. Wait a minute. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, that was true. What is your point? What's your point? Miss Parker.
Oh, here we go with Miss Parker.
On national YouTube said what?
He wanted to say national TV. So he's making Miss Parker a lot more famous than I guess she is. How many subs does Miss Parker have? Let me see if I can find her real quick. Because he really does seem to focus on Miss Parker quite a bit. I'm wondering, like, I'm not sure if that's just because she's got 2,000 subscribers. That's pretty good. But I wonder if that's just because she's a woman. You know, could that be? Because there really doesn't seem to be a whole lot of people that are big reaction channels that are really female. Like there's some, but there doesn't seem to be as many as the guys. So I'm wondering if that's why he singles Miss Parker out. You know, or maybe because he's secretly attracted to her, or maybe because he knows that she's somebody that he's never going to get with, and he's a little salty about that too. I don't know. I don't know what his focus is about Miss Parker. I don't know enough about that, but he does seem to have a very unhealthy obsession with the poor woman.
What did she say? She says
he treats white women a lot better. Quote, really?
That she loves to suck.
Oh, thank you, Mark.
She loves to suck breasts. I'll put it to you that way. That's what.
Wait, what? What? I was not paying attention. Nice boobies there, Gary. Oh my God, I need to save this screenshot. Oh, this is beautiful. I have such a talent for the screenshots that, oh, that is beautiful. That is so beautiful. Okay, we're saving that for later. Oh my God, Gary. Okay, let's listen to what he said.
She loves to suck breasts. I'll put it to you that way.
She loves to suck breasts. Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Boobies are fantastic. What is the point that he's trying to make? That's what it is. Miss Parker's really funny, and she really... Oh. So he's just bitter that she... Oh. But, like, seriously, though. Okay, she sucks boobs. So what? Like, does it matter? I have before, too. What's the big deal? Boobies are great. Everybody should love boobies. Like, what's his point?
That's what she said. She likes other women.
So?
She's a little bit on the fruity side, right?
Uh-huh.
She openly admitted it.
So?
None of you made no video saying that she came out the closet. None of you did.
Because... So we can tell that this is going right over Gary's head. The reason why people are teasing him about being in the closet is because he's homophobic, and because his religion is homophobic. you know? Like, if Billy were to come out and say Billy was gay, okay, cool. You know, that's totally all right. Totally accept that. Because Billy's not homophobic, you know? Or if anybody else in the reaction community came out and said that they were gay, trans, whatever, okay, that's great. Good for you. We're proud of you for coming out. It doesn't really matter. The reason why it's making such a big deal to Gary is because he's homophobic and it makes him mad. You know? Now, if he was accepting, if he was one of the Christians that were like, oh, hey, you know, I don't agree with the lifestyle, but, you know, you do you type thing, and he wasn't homophobic, it wouldn't be a big deal and it wouldn't be a talking point for him. But it makes him upset, which is why people say it.
And none of that stuff.
He doesn't get it
because
he's in denial and being
because I
hateful.
know that most of you atheists that are watching this are.
She's winning this battle against him, but we're all enjoying watching him fly out of control. Yeah, I gotta say, like, absolutely. Like, even though I don't watch her content really, I can tell that she's winning, if there is really a winning in the situation. But I can definitely tell in just the few streams of his that I've watched over the last couple of days that she is definitely getting under his skin. And it's really funny to see how upset he gets about it and how he's trying so hard to degrade her in a way that he thinks is going to hurt her. And that's by, you know, calling her a whore. Telling everybody that she likes to suck on boobs. Like, these are all infantile insults and ways to attack her. And he really doesn't understand that, you know, people are doing this to antagonize him because they're getting a reaction out of him. And he's giving everybody what they want. He's playing right into it. And he's too stupid to notice.
Are a little.
Check her out after you smoke. You will crack up. I will definitely do that.
Anything about it. You want to know how I know this? See, I know that. See, I can name the YouTubers who I know struggle with this. You got the Wolf Kings of the world. You got the Kyles. You got the Miss Parkers. You got several people on here who said that they go both ways and even flirted with the idea a couple of times on their YouTube platforms. Me, on the other hand, you don't got one video, not one video with me even entertaining something like that. As a matter of fact.
Wait. GMan, I do believe there's a couple of videos that I've seen of you in a wig. Of you in a couple of different wigs. So what do you gotta say to that? I mean, does that insinuate that you're trans now? Like, what are you trying to get at, Gary? Like, people are bisexual. I am openly bisexual. I have been open about my bisexuality for quite a while. I don't see the big deal. I mean, is that supposed to upset us? That you're calling us out because we're bi? Like, it's just showing everybody how homophobic you are. But if Miss Parker is bisexual, all the power to her. It doesn't bother me. That's her. You know? And if that's how she identifies, fantastic. And I don't understand why he thinks that he can use that as an insult, because it's not something that's insulting.
I do believe that you guys got angry at me for one moment when I said that I would take a barbed wire baseball bat to one of these if they ever tried me.
Oh, okay. Trust me, Gary. They're not going to. But I mean, it also goes to show though how willing he is to jump to violence if somebody were to mistakenly hit on him because they didn't know. Like, just because somebody makes a pass at you doesn't give you the right to get violent with them and beat their ass with a baseball bat. I mean, that would mean that any woman that Gary has hit on in the past could take a baseball bat to his face. But it's okay because they're heterosexual, so the woman shouldn't want to beat him. Like, what? Where's that logic? That doesn't make any sense at all. Just shows you how threatened he is. But I highly doubt that there's any gay or bisexual men out there that would find Gary attractive. And that has nothing to do with his looks and has everything to do with his awful personality.
Okay. And I remember all you getting in your feelings going, oh, you're
I don't believe he slept with Shanny, maybe in the same house.
Why are you teasing people about stuff that you think is perfectly okay? I'm not gay. I'm straight.
To get a rise out of you, Gary. That's simply because it makes you salty. That's all. And because you're reacting the way that you are. And it's really sad that you don't really get that. Oops. I'm hitting wrong buttons here.
But the funny thing is this.
Yeah, he's
if that
gross.
was true, you support it. What is the point? You act like Christians are going to be like, let's stop supporting G-Man because we think he's gay. Well, first of all, they know I'm not. That's number one. Number two, they know that you're a liar. See, that's one thing that you atheists got to understand, okay?
So this is just yet another example of how seriously he takes everything that's said on the internet. And he's not really able to separate the entertainment from the serious stuff. And I mean, again, it just blatantly shows how homophobic he is.
You're starting at the position with nobody trusting you.
Yourself, right,
then you
Glitchy?
make yourself out to be a bigger liar than what we already think you are. Nobody's paying you any mind. If you're winning other atheists,
nobody's paying you any mind. Yet, Gary, you are all over this. You are all over this. You are definitely paying them a lot of mind.
Already believe that that I'm this terrible person. You ain't accomplishing anything. I, on the other hand,
we're not accomplishing
changing
anything?
the game again.
We're not accomplishing anything? Take a look at your channel the last couple of days, Gary. You're very, very angry. Obviously, what they're trying to do is being accomplished very well. Is he really honestly like this stupid all the time? We love to say that G-Man is gay because it annoys him so much. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, and he doesn't understand that. We're not calling him gay because we actually think that he's gay. We're doing it because we know that he reacts to it. You know? Like, I mean, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Whether he truly is gay at the end of the day doesn't really matter to me personally. But the fact that he's getting so angry about it and he's reacting the way that he is entertaining.
Atheists are looking at you people like, I don't want nothing to do with those channels. That is why you don't see anybody popular go into their trash channels, ladies and gents. And this is why you will never see no one go to their trash channels. They can meet them in person. They can go out there and do whatever they want, but they're not coming to the pathetic YouTube channels because they have an image that they got to keep, right? You people support LGBTQ. Why tease people about it? I thought Christians were the judgmental ones. I thought Christians was the ones who was intolerant.
We're not being intolerant of gay people, Gary. We're just getting a rise out of you.
This is what you don't understand. They're teasing you. It doesn't matter.
It does.
Look how far these things have come in our society. Look how far they have come in our society. Don't you think you're making them go backwards by your jokes that you're making, you dumb Neanderthals? Don't you think that you're actually doing damage to their cause? You're actually exposing that you know that is a sin.
No.
And it's wrong.
No.
And
I knew it was going to get twisted to that. I knew that that's where he was going with that. But oh my God. Okay, so this seems to be a theme with theists that kind of gets me all the time, is that they always seem to assume that they know what we are thinking, you know, and that comes with God, that comes with sin, that comes with everything, right? Like, we really, truly believe in God, but we're just lying so that we can do whatever we want, because we actually love sin and we just want to go out and be able to sin, and that's why we're atheists. And it's just like, they can't seem to wrap their head around the fact that we don't need to worship something in our lives. But because they don't understand that concept and they can't imagine what life would be like without having to worship something, that they kind of have to project that onto us so that they can justify it in their head, you know? So it must be because we're awful. We hate God. We know he's real, but we hate God and we love sin. And that's why we're the way that we are. When that's got nothing to do with it. Sin is absolutely inconsequential to me because I don't practice your religion. So I don't care about sin, right? I don't believe in your God. I don't worship your God. Well, then I have to worship something. I either worship money, or I worship my job, or I worship my husband, or because I don't worship your God, they have to substitute something else that I have to absolutely worship. Because that there can't be that hole in my life because they don't understand how that works. And it's all projection, and it's hilarious. But I knew that this was where he was going with that.
You shouldn't be doing it.
Subs. Yep.
You validate the word of God when you do that.
He'd be right if the Bible was right.
This book that calls it an abomination.
Exactly,
yes, this calls it an abomination. Holy spackle. It's an
Oh, did he just call out Holy Spackle? Holy Spackle is a sweetheart. What is he doing going after Holy Spackle? Do we have to smack him around with his Bible? You leave Holy Spackle alone. Wouldn't it be better to be a Christian and sin when you can be forgiven when asked? Yeah, exactly, right? And like it this whole idea of, if we don't sin, then that means Jesus died for nothing. So go out there and make Jesus' death worthwhile and sin. Or, go out and sin and then go to church on Sunday and ask to be forgiven and then start off with a fresh slate, right? Like, this whole concept of sin just varies so much from Christian group to Christian group that it's like, what flavor of sin are we getting today? Because everybody's idea of sin is different. And you'd think that if a God was real and a God did not want us to do this sinning, that the message would be a little more universal and a little easier to interpret so that everybody would follow the same rules. But, when the Christians amongst themselves can't even decide what those rules are, how do they expect the rest of us who don't believe in their BS to be convinced by it? And that's something that I would like to ask Gary. But I don't think I'm ever going to talk to him because, again, it's like talking to a brick wall. GMan, we don't care what your book says. Exactly,
abomination, Robert. Wolf King. It's an abomination. Kyle, it's an abomination. Ms. Parker.
So, again, he's proving why we do what we do in one video in less than a couple of minutes. So the reason why people tease you about being gay is because you think it's an abomination. You are homophobic, so it's to get a rise out of you. I don't even have to go to another video to be able to prove GMan wrong.
According to the word of God.
Blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares about the word of God. Look at the way he's trying to hold himself. Like, ooh, I'm going to look like big and strong and I'm God's warrior and I'm so important. It's just that posturing there was hilarious.
Mine is you guys support the very thing that you guys attack. That's what's funny about this. But let's get to this whole cloud thing, ladies and gents, so we can actually talk about this here for a moment. Matt Dillahunty says that Christians, how can I be black and be a Christian? How can rebuke and reprove be a Christian and follow this? How can Beckel be a Christian and follow this? That's the question that they ask you on the Atheist Experience. Yep. That is the question that they ask. They say, don't you know that this supports slavery?
It does.
GMan, you're scared to read the verses. Let me go to one of your little favorite verses, just so that you guys can feel good about yourself here for a moment.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Okay? We don't care.
What is that? I believe that's Exodus 21, the one that you guys think we Christians are so afraid of. Oh, you guys are getting embarrassed today. So just
embarrassed about what?
You're getting embarrassed today. Exodus 21. Now these are the judgment which thou shalt set before them.
He's in WWE mode.
And he will serve
I'm hoping for
6 years he shall serve, and in the seventh he shall go out free for nothing. If he came in by himself, he should go out by himself. If he were married to his wife, then they both shall go out with him. If his master had given him a wife, and she bore him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her masters, and he shall go out by himself. And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free, then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall bring him to the door and unto the doorpost, and his master shall bore in his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. Now, we're going to stop there.
Let's see how he justifies
according to you guys, I should be appalled.
You should.
How can I be a Christian with verses like that in the Bible?
Absolutely.
How can I be a black man and be a Christian with verses like the Bible? It's got slavery in it and servanthood in it. And it takes away your autonomy, according to you Neanderthals out there.
Well, it justifies slavery.
How can black people support this?
Let's hear it.
And Matt Dillahunty, he goes out there and he puts a crown on his head and he goes, black people, I am the champion of defending your rights.
He has not said that ever once. And it's really disturbing how he's making this a race thing. Because the fact that he kind of danced over the whole, you know, human owning another human being and not saying, hey, that's wrong. Like, does he even argue about why he thinks that okay? He didn't even explain it. He just read the verse.
Dan, join reason, join logic. Join us who don't believe the universe exists.
I don't know, Esther.
Join us who don't believe that self exists. Join us who believe that we're related to cockroaches. Join us. We're the smart ones. And this, ladies and gents, what the atheist community, that's what Matt Dillahunty does. Got that crown in his head. Champion the cause of black people.
No,
right?
He's never said that.
Champion the cause of black people. Right? Champion the cause.
So rather than refute the actual argument, he just goes on to make fun of Matt Dillahunty. How is that intelligent in any way? My question is, how come he's not bundled up like Shanny and Rev if he's in the basement of the house he's in? Aren't basements the coldest part of the house? He's not in that basement, I don't think. It's a possibility. I don't know. I did notice, though, that Rev and Shanny yesterday were all bundled up like they were really, really cold. And that begs the question, where are the kids? Are the kids living in a house with no heat? And is that being taken care of? They aren't in the same house. But I think it was Drag that confirmed that Shanny and Rev are in the house that GMan had. So I think the question is whether or not GMan is actually in the same house as they are. He has said that he has 2 houses, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that. I need to catch up on some of the backstory that's going on here.
People, right? So there's one small tiny problem. This is one small little problem with that. You see, he doesn't address the fact that he actually supports the very system that he speaks against. Oh, it ain't just Matt. Every last one of you atheists do too. I mean, I'm not going to be no hypocrite. I support it too. It's called the prison system. It's called the prison system.
I don't support the prison system. I think this prison system should be
abolished. I know for a fact that a lot of you would love to see me go to jail. And I know there's a lot of people out there that would love.
Why would he think that we want to see him in jail? Did he break any laws? I mean, that's the only time that I would want to see him held accountable for something. If you're breaking the law, then you're held accountable for it. If you commit a felony and you harm somebody, then yes, you should go to prison. I think prisons should be specifically just for people that commit violent crimes. But, I don't know. He's dabbling into these really, really big subjects, and he's making fun of people for their stance on it, but he's not really refuting anything, So that whole verse that he read out of the Bible, he didn't refute it. He didn't explain why it's okay. He just read it and then made fun of Matt Dillahunty for his stance on it. So does Gary even really know how arguments work? I think they are half heat and want us to think they don't. Oh. GMan stays mostly in New Jersey. Oh. So then why would Shanny and Rev give him a house in Pennsylvania? That's really weird. But then, I mean, that could be too because they want to give people things for attention. Because that's a very Shanny and Rev thing, right? Like, I'm going to give you something so that later on in the future, you will give me something in return. Be that loyalty, be that money, be that, any type of favor, kind of like a mob boss thing. So it could be something like that. Or like, I really want you to like me, so I'm going to bestow gifts upon you so that you are my friend. I've met people like that before. And they are in Scranton. I'm from the West Coast, so I don't know. I don't know if that house is in Scranton. I think is on the outside of Scranton. I don't know. Don't remember. I remember seeing the address for it. I don't think he's broken any laws. He's upholding his right to have a say in whatever. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I don't know why he would think that we would want to see him in prison. If he hasn't broken any laws, he doesn't belong in prison. But are we going to sit here and hold him accountable for his opinions and question and challenge his opinions? Absolutely. We have the freedom to do that, just the way he has the freedom to sit here and spew his mouth off about the Bible. But he doesn't have the right to sit here and do that uncontested. And that's what he seems to expect, that everybody should sit here and listen to G-Man's opinion, and how dare we challenge that? You know, we have no right to do that, because Gary should be the one sitting here in front of the camera spewing off the Bible, and everybody else needs to shut up. And that's not how the world works. He's projecting so much hate onto atheists, it's sad. Yeah, he really is. And like, it just seems like he's trying to throw racial things where they don't really belong. Like the claim that he made about Matt Dillahunty and his crown. I have never once ever heard Matt Dillahunty say anything like that, or even imply anything like that in all of the content that I've watched in Matt Dillahunty. I have Matt Dillahunty on my Facebook. I watch him on Twitch, you know, and I have never gotten that impression from any of his content whatsoever. And I'm sure that if he had, the type of community that he's involved in, they would very much be on top of holding him accountable if he overstepped like that and said something like that. He wouldn't be able to just say it and it would slide, because there would be a lot of people in the atheist community that would be upset about that and would call him out for it. And that's one of the things that I really like about that atheist community. I've never seen him stay on topic. Yeah, he's very erratic in where he's going. It's just kind of all over the place. That's why I didn't want to, like, this is an hour-long stream, but I didn't want to speed it up, because he talks so fast that I don't think we'd be able to understand him. Does anyone know if G-Man has ever successfully converted anyone on YouTube? Ooh, that's a good question, Esther. That's a really good question. I know Shanny has made claims that she has before. But that is a really good question. Someone should actually make note of that and try and ask him. It seems to me that his mind is like a screensaver, you know, the one where the gamer. That's fantastic. Yes, it does very much seem like that, because he does fidget a lot and jump around a lot and move around a lot. He's very like excitable, or, you know, it could be like an anxiety disorder. It could be ADHD, where he has to constantly be moving. It could be a number of things, but he does seem to have a really hard time sitting still. The blank screen being his brain. Right? But he has never said anything. Now, Matt gets away with a lot, though, but he has never said anything racist. I do have to agree with that. There is a lot of stuff that Matt has said that I have not agreed with. And I do think sometimes his approach to certain questions and certain people that he speaks to is a little harsh. But that's Matt's personality, right? But I think that if he stepped over the line to that extent, that the community would hold him accountable for it. I would like to think so, though. I am forever an optimist, so I would like to think that he would be held accountable for it. Didn't dude come on AXP or Talk Heathen way back and start using slurs and vulgarity? Who, G-Man? I don't know. I'm really not sure. I knew people say G-Man made them leave the faith. Oh, I could absolutely see that. Especially like grabbing a Bible and saying it's, homosexuality or, the LGBT community is an abomination. Absolutely. Like if he's planning on trying to convert anybody, especially the people from the reaction community that he's addressing, no one, absolutely no one's going to be drawn to this. And that's something that I really don't understand. And this is actually something that I wanted to sit down and talk to Smokey Saint about as well. Because very much like G-Man, Smokey is very controversial in the way that he addresses his audience and the way he addresses people. There's lots of insults. There's a lot of attacking people. There's a lot of, degrading people in their intelligence. And it's like, if you're trying to win souls over to your side, I would think that approach would drive more people away than it would bring them in. And isn't that the ultimate goal? Being a Christian is to spread the gospel and bring people to Jesus. And wouldn't it be frowned upon to treat people the way that you're treating them and push them away, even farther away? You know what I mean? Like that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. He did get banned from the really? Huh. Well, I mean, the way he talks about Matt Dillahunty, that really doesn't surprise me whatsoever. Because if he talked about me that way, I'd never want to speak to him either. Smokey Saint is a troll. Smokey Saint, I don't know. Smokey Saint is very set in his ways. I don't want to say anything bad about Smokey Saint because I don't want to stir up drama with him. And he is one of those people on the internet that if you say one bad thing about Smokey Saint, all hell breaks loose. I don't agree with his tactics. Let's just say that. And I don't understand how he thinks his tactics are going to win people over to his belief system rather than, push them away. I doubt Smokey is a Christian. GMan's been a Lolcow from his first month on YouTube. He made a video in some church cemetery and said all of these people are atheists. Really? Ooh. I'd be interested in seeing that. Do you know how long GMan's been on YouTube? Because that would be interesting to know. Did he do that really? Yeah, I would love to see that video. Smokey is only interested in triggering people. Smokey does seem to get wrapped up in drama, like, a lot. He does, like, dive into the drama head first, which is why I hesitate in sharing how I really feel about Smokey, because I don't want to be involved in that drama in any way. But again, I feel like his method of trying to spread the word is kind of counterproductive. There's some people that absolutely love him sitting there and insulting the shit out of people. And then there's a whole part of the community that sit here and say, hey, this is not the way to win people over. And, there's a lot of drama that ensues between that. All right, let's get a little more out of GMan here.
To see Shanny go to jail. And they want to see.
Well, okay. The reason why we want to see Shanny go to jail is for what she did, being an abuser, both of her children and of her spouse, and for neglecting her children. Things that break the law. That's what we want to see her go to jail for, because we want to see her punished for the bad things that she's done to her children. That's another the face. The face. We gotta save this one too. Good Lord, I'm gonna have a ton of these. Can I? Oh, Gary. Okay, we're gonna save that one. Whoops. That's not what I wanted. Too many clicking. Okay.
Brad go to jail.
Smokey blocked me a while ago.
Taken away.
Really? I didn't know that Smokey actually blocked people. I didn't know that. He's said a few times that he doesn't actually block people, but wow. Take that with a badge of honor, because Smokey doesn't really block a whole lot of people.
Well, a lot of you would love to see Von Helton get locked up. Oh, and you don't support the slave system, right?
It's not that we want to see him locked up. It's that we want to see him held accountable for the terrible things that he's done to his kids and his wife. Like, just because we don't support the slavery and the prison system doesn't mean that it can't be reformed somehow, or that people can't be held accountable in other ways for the terrible things that they do. We want to see Vaughn be punished for the bad things that he's done. And I believe, personally, that's what I believe, that if you are breaking the law, you need to be held accountable in some way. And unfortunately, the prison system is really all we've got right now. That desperately needs to be changed. But, if throwing Vaughn in jail right now is how we can hold him accountable for, abuse and neglect, then yeah, let's go for it. But they're two separate things.
13th Amendment says that slavery is okay when a crime is committed. Thank you, rebuke and reprove.
I didn't actually know that.
So when a crime is committed, you guys are perfectly okay with slavery. But
No.
that's not slavery. Yes, it is. Get locked up and see how much they pay you per hour to work. A whopping 15 cents an hour. Or did it go up? I heard it's like $1.15 that the major corporations will they pay you $1.15.
That's a whole different corrupt system. But should absolutely be changed. 100% be changed.
A day or something like that.
Isn't the U.S. prison system a type of institutionalized slavery? Absolutely it is. Yep. It's also a big moneymaker too. There's a lot of money that goes into that's to be made from the prison system. That's why the prisons are privatized. But yeah, absolutely it is. And I 100% believe that needs to be changed. But that doesn't mean that people can break the law and not be held accountable for it in the meantime, right? So there has to be some repercussions for breaking the law. And unfortunately, the prison system is all we've got just right now.
I think, or an hour or something like that. And then if you mess up, they put you in a hole when they take over all your clothes and they fire hose you, where you gotta lay in your own urine and your own poo.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Where cats and dogs got more rights than you do. But then we're supposed to believe that you don't support slavery. Not to mention how many of you watching right now supported a known racist in our community who not just did it once, he did it twice, he did it 3 times. In fact, my sources are telling me he's doing this over and over and over and over and over again. And Ms. Parker, Monty, one of the biggest sellouts on the internet, is actually supporting this person.
Who?
That would be Scientist Sam.
I don't know Scientist Sam. I've never watched any Scientist Sam's content. Has Scientist Sam ever said anything, racist? Anybody? Because, like I said, I've never watched any of his content, so I couldn't tell you whether he was or he wasn't. The graveyard video has to be archived somewhere, but I have no idea where. Yeah, unfortunately, there's no GMan archive like there is with Shanny and Rev. So it's like we have to watch this on his channel because I don't know where else it could be. He made a racist George Floyd joke on TGR. Oh. It's always funny how Christians like this asshole think that they can decide how we should feel about something. Oh, yeah, I know. Absolutely. Yeah. He should be able to dictate what we think, what we feel. That's oftentimes I will run into theists who will tell me that I believe something. And it's like, well, you atheists believe this. I'm like, did you even actually take the time to maybe ask me my belief? So what makes you think that you can sit there and tell me that you know what I believe when you haven't even bothered to ask? Like, it wasn't a racist joke, but G-Man doesn't understand context. Well, I mean, we've been watching this for 16 minutes. I'm really not all that surprised he doesn't understand context.
Scientist Sam, who's friends with Matt Dillahunty. Matt Dillahunty keeps friends with racist. Don't give me this garbage. Black people come out of Christianity because your God supports slavery. You support slavery. My God. So
he's trying to say that because we support the prison system, that it's completely okay for him to support. So isn't that in a way, he's justifying that he supports slavery? I don't think he realized what he did there. But he's basically saying, yeah, he supports slavery, and you guys support slavery too. G-Man, it sounds like you may have messed up a little bit there.
Does not condone any immoral ownership. He does not condone that. Just because he's mentioned in the scriptures regarding it does not mean he supports immoral. See, we do have an example of...
Okay, but if God didn't support slavery, why wouldn't he make it one of the 10 commandments? Thou shalt not own another human. That's basic, right? Like, if you're going to set out a set of 10 rules for people to absolutely follow, along with, thou shalt not kill, honor thy mother, thy father, blah, blah, blah. It'd be easy just to make one of those commandments, you're not allowed to own other people. That would have been easy peasy and pretty straightforward, would it not? But no, That's not what the people at the time believed, and they had slaves back then, so they had to find a reason to justify it. And it was easy to get people to fall in line when you say, well, God wants us to own other people. You know what I mean? I don't think Sam is friends with Dillahunty. Sam is friends with Drag, who is an acquaintance of Dillahunty. Yes, yes. I know that because I know that I've heard Drag talk about Scientist Sam before, but I've never actually sat down and watched any of Scientist Sam's stuff before. But it's funny that he's sitting here saying that we support Scientist Sam. Who does he support? Who has he been directly giving money for groceries? He gave a house? Who he's given money for drugs? Rev. What was Rev caught on video doing just, 2 months or so ago? Using the N-word repeatedly in a short directed at Drag. So how is he sitting here thinking that he can judge anybody when he's directly funding a racist who's living in a house that he gave to them? Like, where does he get off trying to point the finger at anybody without first looking at his own behavior? Like, this is ridiculous.
Immoral slavery. You know that Exodus chapter 1 that you constantly ignore all the time and you never talk about? You never talk about Abraham's servants. You never talk about those things. You only cherry pick what you, the illiterate atheist who refuses to read this Bible from beginning to end, go out there and you deem to be the damaging Bible verses due to your lack of understanding.
Oh, so we don't understand the Bible. And yet he hasn't tried to explain or justify anything that's in the Bible. Like that, again, he read that verse and then just skipped over it. Didn't try to explain it. Like, what are we misinterpreting about that particular verse, Gary?
Your lack of Bible study. Maybe this one's too small for you. Let's get something a little bit bigger. Okay? Now,
like that's supposed to
matter. I don't see
somewhere?
any reason why I shouldn't be a Christian. But I see a lot of reason why Matt Dillahunty would try to win the approval of black people by chasing clout, pretending like he actually cares about us. Matt Dillahunty don't care about me as a black man living in the United States. I don't think he cared about George Floyd. I don't think he cares about Gentleman Pioneer, who happens to be a black.
That's simply your opinion. You're allowed to have it, Gary. Doesn't really matter. But me personally, again, watching a lot of Matt Dillahunty's content, never gotten that impression whatsoever. I think more atheists than believers have read the Bible from cover to cover. Oh, I absolutely 1000 agree with that. And like Matt Dillahunty knows the Bible from front to back. He was studying to be a pastor. And there are many people out there that have been Christians for 20 plus years and know their Bibles and have read their Bibles from front to back. And that's the reason why they became atheists. But of course, Gary's not going to acknowledge that.
Black man. I don't think that Matt Dillahunty cares about Grand Ultimate Villain being a black man.
Okay, so?
As a matter of fact, I don't think any of you atheists care about me being a black man.
No.
No.
I really don't care about you being a black man because it has nothing to do with any of the shit that we're pointing out. You're the one that keeps bringing it up. But the reason why we're addressing you is your religious beliefs and the problem we have with that and how you attack people. You know, how you call the LGBTQ community abomination. You know, how you constantly attack other people. I mean, that's got nothing to do with the color of your skin, Gary. It's got to do with you being a shithole person and the way that you treat people. But again, he just can't see beyond that. It's hard to be a theist if you actually read the Bible from cover to cover. Exactly, husband. And Gary is mad because Matt could be as high as a kite and still bear. Oh, absolutely. 100%. Matt could own Gary. 100%. I would enjoy that too. It is now 5:00, my lovelies, and we have been at this for almost 2 hours. I do have a small child that I need to make dinner for, so I'm gonna have to let you go. I may be here tomorrow. I'm not sure. I do have a lot of stuff that I've got to get done tomorrow. And all of that. So I'm not quite sure, but I definitely want to try and do another Convince Me episode on Saturday. So if you don't want to miss that, please like and subscribe. I am so close to unlocking my community tab. So if you could subscribe, I would love you forever. That would be fantastic, because I would really like to be able to post on my community tab. There's been so many times where I want to recommend videos to you guys and I can't do it. Also, if you are interested in keeping up to date with what's going on with videos and things like that, I do post status updates on my Twitter. So if I, for example, like yesterday when I had the stream set up and then I canceled it, I will usually post on my Twitter about why the stream is canceled, because I don't have access to that community tab yet. So that's a way to keep up to date with what's going on. But I think we'll probably move on to another Gary video, unless there's something in this. I'm going to go through and watch the rest of this and see if there's anything interesting that we need to address. But he's got a couple of other really interesting videos that I want to check out. So I've got a feeling that we've got a lot of GMan content coming in the near future. Gary once called Matt at 1 a.m. I think he's Texas, but on the West Coast. Oh, Jesus Christ, Gary. He's just not too bright, is he? Oh my goodness. I don't know. What are we going to do with G-Man, right? But anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching. I appreciate you being here. You are all amazing, and I love you all. And I will see you next time. Bye, guys. If I'm not here tomorrow, make sure you have a great weekend and get your vaccination. I love you all. Bye.